we are. All right, here we are. Here we are. All right, here we are. Welcome to the second episode of the Mach 2 Foiling Moth Resto Mod project. Hope everybody had a great holidays, and I know I've been losing a little bit of sleep thinking about how to rig this puppy up. Been sketching out some ideas, been mocking some things up with cardboard, as you can see. I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, that's the beauty of this boat, is the rigging is get all kinds of different ideas out there. I've looked at a million different videos and photos from other boats, and found some things that I like and don't like, and so I'm trying to make my own version of it, and I want to get it right, as close to right the first time. So yeah, so I've been mocking things up and racking my brain how to fit all these systems in this little boat. So let me show you what we've been up to. All right, so boat's a pretty simple boat for the most part. I mean, you got your Vang and your Cunningham. Outhaul is basically lashed off, so that's pretty simple. But then you've got all your flight control stuff. So our other control systems is your gearing, your ride height adjuster, and your wand length. Those are the other controls that we've got here. Yeah, but you know, there's a limited amount of room. Like, I want to keep the back of the boat obviously open so that it makes it easier for maneuvering. But I don't want to make it all like super complicated up here to where I've got to be chasing problems or what have you. So I'm trying to keep it simple as possible. So this is what I came up with a solution. I've got a couple different options that I had originally planned. So mock this up on cardboard, a little template, and this was originally going to go up here. The cam cleats and you know, same cam cleats on the opposite side. So I just did one side of the boat. And that was the original plan I was going for, and I could run control lines and stuff underneath. But I just didn't like the visual of it, and then also like trying to work and feed things under here. Yeah, so what I ended up, the plan is for now, get this out of the way, is I'm gonna make this little raised platform, like a carbon fiber platform, and it angles the cam cleats perfectly in line with the beams, which will go straight out to the wings out there to me. So yeah, so you got your we'll start here. You're gonna have your gearing, so that's just the sensitivity of the flap on the main foil, and then we're gonna have Vang, Cunningham, and then this is going to be the wand length adjuster. So yeah, pretty simple. So I've mocked everything up with string, and I'm just trying to just see where everything goes before I go ahead and commit to building up a carbon one. Just want to make sure this is going to work. So everything's kind of just knotted up here just to kind of see how things are going to be. But yeah, I'm going to do more of a traditional Cunningham that's going to go here, like it kind of was originally. I'm still not totally sold on it, just because you got to drag the Cunningham across here. We're going to clean all these guys off and drill them out and get them out of there. Yeah, I wanted to do one down the deck and everything, but because of this thing here, it would cut across, and I don't know, I just really like how this is going to work out for all the other reasons. So we'll see if, as far as the Cunningham, still up for interpretation on that, especially since, you know, I'm trying not to have this too crowded in here because of all the systems that have got to go in there. So yeah. So here's the other angle of what I'm working with here. So you see how these guys are raised up on the platform, and I'm going to make it so I can just drill and tap everything into this plate here that I'm going to make. That way I don't have to fish nuts and stuff underneath there. And just keep it simple, and then like these guys will just be lashed in there. It's going to be kind of a pain to run a fresh one in the future, but that's for future me to worry about. But yeah, so this is the plan with this, and then I'll take you over here. Oh yeah, and I found these at one of the shops this week, and so it's like a little, it's made out of like that carbon plastic sort of stuff with the wire from Spinlock, and I think this is going to work great for running my continuous lines and the shock cord take-ups that'll come back off the wings that'll go there. All right, I also wanted to give a little shout out to another YouTube channel that actually inspired this project. It's the Tom Stukeberry Sailing. He's down in Australia, and his thing, check him out, is that he finds cheap boats on the internet and buys them and fixes them up and gets them sailing, and his like big focus is like moths. And I stumbled across it 6-8 months ago, one of his videos where he bought a moth for $100, and then he sat there in his backyard in between rainstorms and stuff, putting his this moth back together and basically salvaging it and then getting it out and getting the thing up and foiling. And so super impressive. And he's done a couple other moths since the first one that I saw, but it's like super inspiring because, you know, I've always wanted to get one of these boats, but I've been intimidated because they're crazy expensive for a little 11-foot boat. I mean, like the brand new ones, you know, anywhere from 30,000 to 50,000, all up ready to go, which is a bit intimidating for somebody who's been interested in the fleet. But I've always just like, nope, can't afford it. And then by watching his videos, Tom's videos, it was like, holy crap! Like, all right, you can buy and use Moth, and like the prices have come down on them, and you know, and he's just kind of like the everyman kind of guy, and it's like an inspiration. It's like, well, shoot, if he can get this thing together and go foiling, and he's kind of a big guy, and I've always thought that I was too heavy to foil, and he's a bit bigger than I am, and he's up ripping around doing 2-3 times the speed of the wind, and I was like, holy crap, maybe this is something that I could get into. And then several months later, all of a sudden, this thing happened to pop up when I was looking for pricing on selling my laser, and there's this moth right here for sale, and I was like, that's cheaper than a laser for sure, and way cheaper than a brand new laser. But I'm like, it's a Mach 2 and this thing's in great shape. And so yeah, so I was like the inspiration. I was like, holy crap, you know, this thing that I thought was unattainable is now like, I've got one, and now hopefully I'll be foiling here within the next couple weeks. But yeah, super inspiring, and hope other people get inspired by his videos to get out and get foiling and get into the moth class, because it's not this like super expensive boat anymore. I mean, obviously if you want to win the worlds or whatever, like you got to invest the money, but this to be ripping around on the bay or in the estuary, and going those speeds and putting the grin on the face, I mean, that's why we do it, it's for fun. So I'm like super stoked to get out there. But yeah, just huge shout out to Tom Stukeberry Sailing. I'll put a link in the down below, but yeah, check out his videos, they're pretty entertaining, and I always look forward to looking them up. So yeah, so thanks Tom for your inspiration and to get me out there and get me stoked to go foiling. And yeah, so stand by. All right, time for some fun. We're gonna take a break from the making of the carbon for just a minute right now, and we're gonna do a little splicing fun. Wanted to come up with a clean way of how to combine these two blocks for the boom vang. This kind of goes on the big loop that goes around the base of the mast stump, and then this is part of the purchases here. And normally there's a shackle that goes inside of this block, and then, you know, it's gonna add some distance there once I lash it off, and I was like, oh, we can do this cleaner. So I thought, oh, I'll just grab, you know, whatever, one of these bronze stand loops off the shelf and put it through the hole there, and the tail ends will just pin right through there. But unfortunately they aren't long enough, which is fine. I can use these for other things, and so I'm gonna make a new one, a long one. Okay, so there we go. That was actually turned out pretty dang slick. Yeah, that's about as compact as you can get right there. Probably couldn't have done much better with lashing, plus this looks a lot cleaner. So yeah, so that's the first block for the Vang. Here we go for more. All right, so I started working some more on the boom Vang. So I lashed off this high load titanium block here to my Vang arm that hangs off the boom, and then there's going to be another strap that goes from here to where the main sheet blocks attach. And then I just spliced on some long lines of this is actually 3mm SK99 heat set Dyneema, and I just did a couple splices, but I haven't done the other ends because I want to wait till I get the sail on before I commit to lengths and everything. But the next thing that I've got to do is that this line here, this is some 3/16 SK99 heat set Dyneema, so super low stretch. And what I need to do is I need to feed this behind the mast step. There's like a groove that goes all the way around. It's meant for this, and I'm going to splice a loop that includes this block here. And so this is to take the load, and it gives it a place for the Vang to pivot off of. But it's under a lot of load. I think they like over 2 tons of load that these boats see with the new sails. So yeah, so I got to make sure everything's capable of handling that. And like a lot of guys use like the next bigger block or even bigger for here. And so if I feel that I need it down the road, I will. But right now we're just going with the $200 block instead of like the $800 block. So yeah, so here we go. Okay, so I don't know if you could see it in that part of the video, but it was not an easy thing to do. The splice continuous loop around this thing, around this, and have the block in there and get somewhat of a taper. So yeah, so actually turned out quite perfect. Yeah, so this is, you know, so it just rotates on this right here. That's for the Vang, and then Cunningham and everything else can kind of go on either side of it. Still got to clean up this area where looks like somebody at some point in time used a non-stainless fitting, or it could have been stainless and it's just stainless reacting with carbon, but it doesn't look pretty. So still not sure. I'm probably just going to grind that out and fill it with epoxy and clean this up a little bit. But that's just aesthetics. So yeah, so that's that part of this. And then next I'm going to be working on the alcohol. All right, for our next puzzle, we've got the Cunningham to kind of figure out. So I just added these second set of blocks on either side for the Cunningham to split and to go to our carbon deck organizer that we're gonna make in the next episode. So I through bolted those guys in with backing plates to go all the way down inside there. That was fun, but can't really video it because I could barely even get my tools in there, let alone get a video of it. But you know, through bolted. All right, so that's where the outhaul has to come down to, is this block here and this block on the other side. And then there's the whole like, well, then you got purchase, you got to have your purchase going up and down in here, and there's not, if you come out, there's not that much distance here to get enough throw, and you need to have a lot of throw and a lot of purchase on Cunninghams, because that's one of the main controls on this boat besides the boom Vang and obviously the main sheet. And then other boats I've seen it, and where I originally wanted to do is where you do the block and tackle for the Cunningham runs along the deck here diagonally, which is great, except for my whole deck organizer thing. It's gonna live, there's gonna be one on either side right here, and that's not gonna work because it'll run across. And then I was like, I could raise this up even higher and it could run underneath, and I was like, it might jam, or I don't know. Then, you know, then I got to make this stick up a little bit higher, and then it's going to be a little bit more prone to maybe getting kicked off or what have you. So sticking to the original plan with here. And I read somewhere or saw in a video or something that one of the guys did his Cunningham inside the boom. So that's what I'm gonna do. So essentially, and all, I got a diagram I'm drawing up over there, but basically there's gonna be a cheek block mount on the inside here of the boom. So, and then the Cunningham will dead end over here on a hole here, go up through a block that's gonna have a shackle on it that's gonna go to the actual tack of the sail. It's gonna go through this cheek block and then back in here to all the block and tackle. And then there's gonna be 2 cheek blocks on either side down here that spit out the 2 tails that are go down to these blocks that we made. All right, so I've mocked this up a few times, and so I'm gonna draw it up for you. So let's just pretend this is inside the boom. So this is inside the boom. Boom, boom, there's the top of the boom. Okay, so Cunningham, let's just say it dead ends here on one side of the boom, and it's gonna go up to another block. It's gonna come down, go through this block here, and then turn, and then it's gonna go to these guys here, and then I'm gonna splice it in so that these guys are turned into like a fiddle block. All right, and then we come over here, and I'm gonna splice this block here, and the line's gonna go through here. Oops, trying to do this while holding the camera. Around here, boom, around here, around to that guy, and then it's gonna go around here, and then dead end right there. So that right there, so that's a 5 to 1, and then cascade here, technically that's a 2 to 1, so so we times that by 2, so that's a 10 to 1, and then this is going to be another 2 to 1 here. That goes from here to, and this goes down to those blocks of the mast base that splits it, and so then that doubles it again. So then we've got a 20 to 1 Cunningham, and I've got that, you know, good amount of length inside the boom that I can tuck all the stuff inside and have plenty of throw. So that's the plan. So now I'm gonna splice it up, and then we're gonna see how it works. All right, so I'm gonna start splicing up the Cunningham. Keep wanting to call it the out haul because it's going inside the boom, but this is the Cunningham that's internal to the boom. So I decided to switch it up a little bit because I don't think I have enough room for all the throw in there to do a 5 to 1 for the main purchase. So I'm gonna do a 4 to 1. So that'll give me a 16 to 1 Cunningham. So put it together and see if it's gonna work, and I can always edit if need be. All right, here we go. Okay, so we got this all spliced up, and so next we gotta build the ship inside the bottle. And so what I've done, so you can actually see I've already installed the cheek box in there for getting everything to turn to go in there, and then I've got down here, I've got a hole in the boom where I'm gonna have it dead end, where the one purchase is gonna dead end there. And so what I did is I took a piece of thin wire, actually took some 1/8 inch 1x19, and I just peeled off the outer strand. So this is just the core strand, and fed that through like a fish tape, and then I fed it inside the Dyneema. That's going to be this guy here. Fed it inside the Dyneema, and so it'll kind of do the Chinese finger trap over the top of it. And then I put some millionaire's tape for good luck. So yeah, so now we're gonna pull the whole thing in there all at once. Here we go. tails will come out there, but there we go, it's in. Okay, so version 1 of the conanium is done. So just got it tied loosely with the knot because I've obviously got to figure out where exactly everything's gotta be. But yeah, so I've got a pretty high load block there and a high load shackle. I might switch this out to like one of those high load titanium sheave blocks, but this will get the job done for now till I figure things out. But I've got my 2 tails that go down to the base of the mast stump, then turn to the control lines, and then go through the cleats, and then out to the tramps to me. So I'm using the Rob Line Infinity control, so it's a polyester line with a little bit of Dyneema, so it's nice and grippy, and it's really easy to end for end splice for continuous control lines. So that's the plan there. But yeah, so you can see you just pull on the ends there, and then you've got the 16:1 Cunningham inside the boom. So super slick. All right, so I finished as well, kind of roughly putting together the boom vang. Everywhere where you see knots tied, that's obviously gonna get spliced once I get the mast in and the sail on and get everything dialed into where it needs to be. But this way I get it all roughed out, and then I can just see where everything's gonna run and just make sure that it's gonna work out good. So yeah, so that's where we're at with that. And then next episode we're going to be building the carbon platform here for this guy, and then we're going to be figuring out what to do with the nose cone for the bowsprit to make a new one or fix this one up or what have you. So yeah, that's what's happening on the next episode. So thanks for watching, and be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. But yeah, appreciate you watching, and if you have any input, throw it in the comments. And yeah, hopefully we'll be on the water soon, but a few more projects and waiting on a few parts from coming from Australia. So stay tuned.